I'm here with Alexander Mercouris, editor-in-chief of the Duran. Alexander, let's do a follow-up as to what's going on in Syria. I don't know how to take this news. I don't know if it's troubling news. I don't know if it puts into jeopardy the agreement that seems to be in place with Russia, Turkey, Syria, and the U.S., because you have, Trump's announcement that he is pulling back the forces from Syria. A small group of forces, by the way, but nonetheless, he was pulling them out. You have now U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper saying that the U.S. is going to be moving armored vehicles, and once again, a small group of military personnel into Syria to protect the oil fields.
Yeah.
What's going on here, Alexander?
Yes, I mean, the argument that's being made is that they are to protect the oil fields from ISIS. Everybody knows that the real intention is to try to keep these oil fields out of the hands of the legitimate Syrian government, which is led by President Bashar al-Assad in Damascus, who is the person who the United States has spent 8 years trying to overthrow. What this shows is that there are some people in Washington who simply cannot give up. They don't want to give up on their regime change agenda, despite the fact that the President of the United States clearly doesn't support it, doesn't believe in it, has repeatedly indicated that he wants US troops pulled out of Syria. So now we have this new pretext to keep some troops, an ever diminishing number, in Syria, and to try to keep Syria away from its oil. I don't think it is a sustainable position. I don't think Donald Trump himself ultimately, deep down, supports it, but he's come in for so much criticism over the last few weeks since he took his decision to pull US troops out of Syria that I think he's allowing this brief pause, which is, I think, all this ultimately is going to be, in order to prepare the ground for a full withdrawal later. The key event is that the Syrian army is now flooding across northeastern Syria and is now once again positioned on the Turkish and Iraqi borders. So I think that though this is an annoying thing, it shows the stubbornness of some people in the United States and their unwillingness to give up on this project. I gather that the man who is behind this particular scheme is Ambassador Jeffries, who is the US's supposed point man on Syria, who is known to be an extreme hardliner. But I think in the end, in a few weeks' time, it will become absolutely clear that the position of these troops is untenable.
Yeah, Trump had the same problems with John Bolton in North Korea. And
yes.
We see what happened to John Bolton, even though now John Bolton's going to most likely be testifying to the impeachment inquiry witch hunt that's going on in the basement of Congress. You could speak to that, Alexander, if you want as well.
Yeah.
But very, very quickly, is this and Trump has said that he will go in and keep the oil and take the oil. He has made statements like that. So, I don't know how seriously to take Trump on those statements. But my question to you is, do you think this is a case of taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back? In other words, kind of like a Trump negotiation tactic?
Exactly.
And people do use that in negotiations. Well, they'll give a lot.
Exactly. I think that's exactly.
And then they'll scale it back just a step or two. But, they keep the forward momentum.
Exactly. I mean, I should point out, by the way, that these oil fields, from a US point of view, if you're talking about economics, they're worthless. Syria is not a big oil producer, not by any stretch. I mean, it's dwarfed by oil production in other countries, including other Middle Eastern countries. Syria is not a country like Iraq or Saudi Arabia or Kuwait. I mean, so these are oil fields important for the Syrian economy. They are not important for the United States. So when Trump talks about seizing oil, I mean, he can't really believe that this is economically of any great importance. It does look to me, as I said, like he's doing two things. Firstly, he is trying, I've no doubt about this, to try to strengthen US diplomatic leverage in this situation. The US doesn't have a great deal of diplomatic leverage, but to the extent that it has any, it's trying to keep it by trying to hold on to these oil fields. And the second thing he's trying to do is to protect himself from deep state elements in the United States, which are absolutely furious with him because of what he has done. And of course, you've already spoken about John Bolton. To absolutely no one's surprise, at least not mine, John Bolton is now teaming up with the Democrats to try to support this impeachment case against Trump. Bear in mind, Bolton was a critic of Russiagate, but now he clearly wants to have his revenge on Trump, and he clearly disagrees completely with Trump's foreign policy. Well, that's been obvious for a long time. And I predict that before very long, Ambassador Jeffrey and other hardliners will be coming forward and will be saying the same things, that Trump is doing all sorts of wrong or inappropriate things in Syria, as Bill Taylor, the chief diplomat in Ukraine, has been saying that Trump did all sorts of wrong and inappropriate things in Ukraine. I think when the American people understand, as they will eventually, because I have great belief in their ultimate good sense and their ability to see through these things, when the American people understand that what is actually happening is an attempt by deep state elements, Taylor, Bolton, Jeffries, to try to obstruct the president's policy of getting the United States out of all of these messes, it's going to end up helping Donald Trump and damaging the Democrats, that all these people are getting involved in the impeachment proceedings.
Does this change at all the agreement between Erdogan and Putin?
No.
Were they in the know? Were they expecting this? Maybe they were notified of this, that this could possibly be an outcome? I mean,
possibly, but probably not, because the agreement doesn't actually cover the oil fields. It covers questions of the border, and it covers the questions of the nature of Turkey's incursion into Syria, the extent to which the Russians have placed limits on the extent of that incursion, and the extent to which the Kurds are going to have to retreat from the Turkish border. That's what that agreement was all about. The Russians, as you absolutely rightly say, they haven't taken 2 steps forward. They've taken about 10 steps forward in getting large areas of northeast Syria back under Syrian government control. The Russians and the Syrians are back in Raqqa, they're back in Kobani, they're back in Manbij, they're more secure in places like Deir ez-Zor. Yes, there is the outstanding question of the oil fields, but they'll sort that out eventually. I have no doubt of it.
Yeah, it makes these neocons just look so petty and so stupid, doesn't it? I mean,
well, it does.
The oil fields serve no purpose to them whatsoever. It just makes them look really bad. Well,
it does. I mean, it serves no purpose, but it shows how completely, I'm going to say it, fanatical these people are. I mean, they don't seem to be able to retreat. They don't seem to want to retreat, even in the face of overwhelming realities. And all I would say about that is that it was Frederick the great Prussian king, who once said, if you don't know how to retreat, you're going to lose, because he who tries to defend everything, in the end defends nothing.
Yeah, and the whole, we're sending in tanks and armored vehicles. I mean, it doesn't really change the calculus of what's going on the ground.
It doesn't change the calculus. It is illegal. It is wrong. It creates more trouble and further delay. And as I said, it serves an agenda of some people in Washington, which is an agenda which has already failed. It's called reinforcing failure, because that's what it is.
Yeah, it's reinforcing failure. And I think at the end of the day, Trump will eventually get everybody out. It just looks like he can't do it with one go.
Well, he first announced it after he became president in April 2018. He said that he wanted to withdraw all US troops from Syria in April 2018. And then, if you remember, there was the chemical attack on Khan Sheikhun, and he was maneuvering missile strikes in response to that, and that kept him there longer. And then in December of last year, he again said that he wanted to withdraw all US troops from Syria. And again, there was another, there were all kinds of other problems.
False flags. Sorry, April 2017, and then December 2018. And now here we are, and he's managed to do it. It clearly can't happen in one go, because there are all sorts of people who are trying to block this, and he's having to fight for his policy inch by inch in Washington. So, but he'll get there in the end. Of that, I am sure. Yeah, left and right, Republicans and Democrats.
Republicans and Democrats. I mean, he's also got to keep people like Lindsey Graham happy.
Yeah, that's right. Alexander Mercouris, editor-in-chief of the Duran. Thank you very much. Guys, if you like this video, click on the subscribe button down below. Click on the notifications bell to make sure you get notifications when we publish a new video. Hit that like button as well and share the channel with everybody you know. Donate to us on PayPal, Patreon, and Subscribestar. Your donation really helps this channel out a lot, and we appreciate every donation we get. And you can get a copy of this video in audio format. So check us out on iTunes and on Soundcloud. Also check us out on the Duran shop, where you can buy really cool Duran merchandise. We've got magic mugs and we've got awesome shirts as well.
We certainly do. Magic mugs like this one with this master diplomatist, Sergei Lavrov, depicted on it. He's played a major role, by the way, in bringing peace to Syria. Hours and hours of very difficult negotiation with people like John Kerry, Hillary Clinton also before. And gradually all his work is bearing fruit. But here he is on our mugs, beautiful 15-ounce porcelain mugs. It's been a miserable day here in England, so I'm drinking tea. I've been drinking Iron Goddess of Mercy oolong tea. Perfect tea for a mug like this. Perfect mug for a tea like that. One of the great teas of China, if I may say so. The emperors of China used to drink it. So you can drink wonderful tea or coffee or hot chocolate or water, if you like, from mugs like this. And there'll be a joy to have also, because they're so beautiful. And we don't just have magic mugs, we have magic T-shirts like this one, which I'm wearing. All of our T-shirts have the Duran double-headed eagle, which you can see there. This is a 100% cotton T-shirt. All our shirts are beautifully made, of the highest quality. This is a short sleeve T-shirt, as you can see. We also have long sleeve T-shirts. We have V-neck shirts. We have polo shirts, really smart, elegant polo shirts. We have hats. We've got hoodies. We've got stickers. We've got great things in our shop. Our competitors all think so. They're trying to copy us, and the products they're producing are awful, but ours are great. Our viewers think so, those who buy them. The feedback we're getting is tremendous. Alex is refreshing the shop all the time. So what are you waiting for? Help the Duran, help yourself. Go to our shop, buy yourself some of these wonderful things.
All right, theduranshop.com. Alexander Mercouris, editor-in-chief of the Duran. Thank you very much. Until next time, everybody, take care.